wine fam, thank you so much for joining us again. We are so excited to have our entire Diablo Rojo series published to our YouTube page. If you haven't watched our series, click this link above to go watch it. Stop everything you're doing and go watch that first. Then come back to this video because we are going to review the final product. I'm going to give you some tips for bottling your wine at home. And we're going to talk about some awesome new things coming to our channel. One of the awesome tools that I have is this Wine Folly book, the Magnum Edition. It's a tool that I use while I'm making wine because she goes into the different grape varietals, what you should be expecting, the color of wine. So we're going to take a look at my favorite page, which is the color of wine. We have worked long and hard on this wine, starting back in March is when we got this bad boy going. Like I said, if you haven't seen our series on Diablo Rojo, make sure to go check that out first because I don't want to give out any spoilers. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is just kind of look at the wine, right? So I've been swirling it around. You're like, Corbin, what are you doing? Just being some French snob. No, I'm trying to put air back into the wine. So it's been deprived of oxygen, which is the whole goal of fermentation, right? Is to keep the oxygen out and let our little yeast eat our sugars and then toot alcohol, right? Don't ever forget that. After we've swirled our wine, we've gotten all the oxygen back into the wine to kind of bring out those aromatic flavors. We're gonna look at the color or the hue of our wine. So let's check that out. Okay, so the best way to do it is to hold it over just a plain white sheet and just kind of just look at it. Is it a purple? Is it a really like orangey red? Is it a deeper red? Is it a lighter red? Is it transparent? Can I read through this red? I would say yes, I can absolutely read through this. I would say it's more of a ruby. So then you say, okay, is it a pale, medium, or deep? It's not really a medium because it's still transparent. I can see through it. I've got about 5 ounces in here. I'd probably say that this is a pale ruby red. A pale ruby red. So we've looked at our color, we've examined it there. And then now what we're gonna do is look at the viscosity of the wine or how quickly the alcohol is falling. It's called the Gibbs-Marangoni effect. It's the Gibbs-Marangoni effect.
The Gibbs-Marangoni effect.
Basically look at is how quickly this wine is falling back down and how many legs are forming while it's doing it. So holy cow, you guys, this has got a lot of legs. Here, let me give it a good swish for you. Give it a minute. So you see these guys falling right here? Those are all some of the awesome legs. Holy cow. Okay, so these legs are gonna indicate 2 things. The viscosity of the wine, so how thick is the wine, how fast is the liquid moving, that's a chemistry term, viscosity, and it's also gonna tell us the alcohol content. We looked at the viscosity of the wine, we looked at the color, and now we're gonna smell the wine to see what kind of notes we're getting. So the first thing I'm getting right off the bat is sweet cherries, but I'm also getting like angel food cake. And I know that sounds so weird, but like the strawberries blended with the taste of an angel food cake is kind of the smell I'm getting. Yeah, just that vanilla. So I'm getting some really sweet cherries, some fresh strawberries, and some of that vanilla is kind of what I'm smelling. There's a little bit of tobacco in there too. I'm thinking about like a cigar that I've smelled, like my dad's having a cigar on the back patio and I've picked up a whiff, and that's kind of what it's reminding me of. But a very light tobacco, not super overpowering at all. Maybe it's just because it's springtime, but the non-edible flavor I'm getting is kind of like just wet rocks, like right after like a spring rain. I don't know if you've ever smelled it before, it's kind of weird, but to bring that up. But yeah, just like the fresh spring rain on some wet cobblestone or rocks. That's kind of the other smell I'm getting.
Yeah. It's for sure my favorite candle.
we've looked at the color of the wine, we've looked at the viscosity of the wine, we've smelled the wine, now we're gonna taste the wine. So. Still that cherry and strawberry. I mean, that's the predominant flavor, right? That vanilla is absolutely there whenever I breathe out. So what I was doing was drinking in the wine and then breathing out through my nose to be able to try to get any other aromas that I was missing. On the floral side, I kind of get some honeysuckle. Like super vanilla, honey, in the flavor. It's really, really good. Guys, this is not a sweet wine by any means. So when I sit there and say vanilla, angel food cake, you know, sweet cherries, you're not gonna be taking a bite out of a dessert. It's not a donut, right? Like this is still a full-bodied red. Like I can still feel the tannins on my tongue. So it's not a sweet wine. I don't want you to shy away from it and think like, oh, it's total sweet wine. It's considered an off dry. So it's not, it hasn't completely ripped my tongue off, but it is a drier sweet wine. So it's an off dry. What I really like about this wine, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, thinking about the color, thinking about the legs, thinking about the smells, thinking about all the notes that I'm getting as I'm enjoying this wine, it's got a very, very smooth taste. So drinkability is great. It's a very, very velvety, smooth finish. There is some kind of, I couldn't figure out what it was, but I'm thinking it's kind of like a currant note at the very end that's almost like peppery currant. That peppery currant flavor is very, very evident when you're on your first or second sip of this wine. But after you get into your third, fourth, fifth sip, it starts to kind of go away. So that's kind of unique and interesting that I found about this wine. My tip for you as far as bottling goes, we did not touch this wine. After we bottled it, we did not touch it for 3 weeks. That is very hard to do when you've been making this wine for 2 months and you just can't wait to taste it and you're just so excited and you know it has all of this potential, but you have to do it. You have to stop and just let it sit. The other thing you'll probably notice is this big fat rubber band. And you're like, Corbin, why is there a big rubber band on this wine bottle? These are the last 3 bottles that we filled, so they could have some residual sediment. So I like to set them apart from the rest of the bottles. So that's why we do it. It just kind of helps us distinguish the difference between these two. It gives us something to taste. The average consumer isn't gonna know what sediment is. They're just gonna be like, ew, what's this gross floaty stuff in my wine? And that's why we just go ahead and eliminate that and take the last 3 bottles that we bottled for us, because it only adds flavor to the wine. Just so you know, don't be scared if you see sediment in the bottom of your glass. But yeah, it freaks people out. So we just take care of that for you and keep all the good wine for ourselves. No, I'm just kidding. If you want to see us make a fruit wine with real homegrown Palisade peaches from Palisade, Colorado, and comment below and say, give me the peach, and we will keep you updated on how that process goes. It'll be our first time making a fruit wine. I'm gonna go into the good, the bad, the ugly, but let me know if you wanna see it. Smack the thumbs up button. Like our videos. If you love what we're doing, if you have questions, please leave comments below. Be sure to follow me on Instagram because you're gonna get the inside scoop on the day-to-day operations here. Like I said, we're working on that Sauvignon Blanc right now. We've got another batch right behind it. So we're really, really excited about everything that's to come. All right, guys, we will see you in the next video. And above all, stay educated, my friends.